All right, and we are live. What is up, YouTube? It is K Rod here. I'm back with another good live stream for y'all today. I believe we're live right now, if we're not mistaken. Uh, Hold on. I believe. All right, there we go. All right, so how's it going, y'all? It's K Rod here. I'm back with another good stream for y'all tonight. I wanted to have like a live open panel discussion. Here are the links if you guys want to join. Remember, you have to turn on your camera if you want to be on this panel. So that's just for verification purposes. Just to show that like obviously like you're human. Like you don't need it on. Like just turn it off and turn it on, and then I can put you in. But yeah, let's get right talking. Last night was amazing performances, great fights with Teofimo Lopez Jr. versus George Kambosos Jr. and Brandon Figueroa and Stefan Fulton, aka Cool Boy Steph, aka Scooter, out of Philadelphia. But yeah, let's talk about these fights because it's been on my mind, and I wanted to talk about this for quite a while. So yeah, let's go. All right, so let's talk about Teofimo and George Kambosos. As far as robbery goes, I don't think this fight was ever to be a robbery. I thought this fight was extremely close, but minus like the how should I say, if you minus out the knockdowns, George Kambosos was winning the fight. But at the same time, Teofimo knew what was going on, and it was a very difficult fight from the very beginning. Salute to my brother Mo Boxing. He says, "Salute, brother, listening while driving." Yeah, most definitely. Thank you very much, Mo. Everybody go subscribe to the Somalian brother, the African brother, Mo Boxing, out of that good old UK. Salute to Mo Boxing. But yeah, let's get right to it. Obviously, if you guys had watched the fight, Tiafimo, he was hurt multiple times in that fight against Cambosos, and Cambosos, he did a lot of great lateral movement against Tio. He didn't give Tio a lot of good shots to land. The only problem that I had was his defense definitely lapsing throughout the rounds. I thought Cambosos did a pretty poor job trying to fight off of a Philly shell. He should have just came in, just with like a good old high guard, so that way Tio's not landing all these like crazy ferocious punches on him. Because I think what Cambosos failed to do, he failed to, you know, not give Tio any angles to hit him. So I think what Cambosos should have done, he should have like moved his head around and make himself look more unpredictable when Tio was about to throw a punch. And then on top of that, I don't know if it could have been possible, but he should have ducked under and he should have counter right hook or he should have counter uppercut leading to a jab because I think the weakness for Tio is that he tries to lunge in when he's about to jab you, but then when he throws that mean ass overhand right, you could easily clip him with a good ass uppercut. And I think that's what Cambosos was doing. He timed it very perfectly when he hit Tio, um, like clean on the chin, which got him knocked down in the first round. And I thought Cambosos did an amazing job just timing Tio and getting Tio off balance by just out jabbing him, offsetting him, pressuring him with that jab, and then he was backing Tio up with the uh those mean uppercuts and body shots. So I think Cambosos, he did an amazing technical boxing performance, but the problem was that he was giving Tio a lot of options to hit back at him, which he should have never done that. He should have moved his head around while he's beating Tio up, and then he would have got Tio up and out of there definitely in 10 rounds or less because I think what Cambosos was trying to do, he was trying to like, let Tio's gas tank, be basically emptied, and then he was gonna go up in there and try to stop him. But if I was Cambosos, I would have just kept on outboxing him, but I outpressure him with my jab, and then I make Teofimo uncomfortable off his back foot, which I keep telling all you Teofimo fanboys or you dick riders that Teofimo Lopez, he's not good fighting off of his back foot. So the biggest issue that I can see out of Teo that's going to get him knocked out and brutally beat the hell up was that if you force Teo to his back foot, he can't win. Teo does not know how to fight going backwards. And he tries to like mimic Floyd Mayweather in a way where he tries to do that shoulder roll off the ropes type bullshit, but only very few fighters can actually do that. And Teofimo, he doesn't possess the necessary skills yet in order to do that type of, defensive, I guess like ring generalship, right? Because I know that some fighters try to like be flashy, similar to Floyd Mayweather, but I mean, in big championship level fights like this, if you're not good at utilizing your tools to be, good at the top of your division, then I suggest not doing that in a real fight because, sorry, a guy like Cambosos is going to exploit you, and then he's going to find more holes out of your game to hit you off guard, and then boom, you could easily get yourself knocked out or just brutally outboxed to the point where you're just basically mentally and spiritually defeated. So I think Teofimo, he showed that he had no plan B. He only had a plan A coming into this fight. And Cambosos, he did amazing. He beat the living crap out of Teo. He, bloodied his eyes, and Teofimo was getting his ass whooped. That was a good fight. I enjoyed the victory. But as far as robbery goes, no. I thought Cambosos did enough to defeat Teo. Yes, that knockdown in the 10th round definitely played a factor, but I don't think that the fight should have been that close enough to a 7-5 round in which like honestly, like if you guys want to give Teofimo the benefit of the doubt, he technically could have forced this fight to be a draw if he had knocked Cambosos down again, and then that would have definitely sealed the deal for him to keep his belts. But knowing that Teo lost the majority of those rounds, which I would say it's a 7-5 round, I would definitely agree that Cambosos, he arguably won. And, I wouldn't be mad if it was a draw. Well, actually, yes, I would because, I'm against draws. But still, if it had to been a draw, it would have been because of that knockdown that Cambosos had gone through in the 10th round by Teo. That definitely made that scorecard a lot closer. Otherwise, if Cambosos didn't get knocked down and, he was like losing some of those championship rounds, I would still have Cambosos winning that fight 7-5 anyway. But I mean, for Teofimo trying to say that this shit was like a robbery and everything was stacked against him, blah blah blah. No, get the hell up out of here, man. You don't know how to box. You don't know how to use any fundamentals in your skill set. You obviously got your ass beat the fuck up, and he like obviously to me, like I thought Teofimo was not focused coming into this fight. He literally thought, okay, well, if I could be out the ring for 1+ years, like literally almost like pretty much he was out the ring for well over a year and a month leading up to Cambosos. So you do the math of how many training camps that is equivalent to. I want to say that's about 4 to 5 training camps, but still, that is a lot of time missed in the ring. And you cannot tell me that you can perform as well as you did in your last performance while being out the ring for that long, because people want to say, like Josh Taylor saying that there's no such thing as ring rust, but to me, I believe ring rust actually does exist. If you're not ready and you're not at the top of your game to be ready for that one person that's going to catch you in one of your off night fights, that's going to stun you, long term. Because if you're not staying active in the ring enough, your skills are going to deteriorate. Your reflexes are going to be slowed down. Your ring activity is going to be slow. You're not going to be as efficient and fluid with your moves and your executions that you do in your fights. So that's why it's always important to always be ring active, especially with some of these younger fighters that try to like not all, but some of these younger level up and coming fighters. They're fighting at least 4 to 5 times a year, if not probably more than that. So I think that's awesome for those type of fighters to take those type of obviously low tier, medium tier level fights to keep their career active. But obviously, if you're at the higher level, you obviously want to rest up for at least a good maybe like 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 months max, and then you can be back in the ring within 5, because I can understand if you're like Gervonta Tank Davis or you're Errol Spence or you're Jamal Charlo or whoever that is fighting high level competition, which obviously not all those guys are fighting high level guys, but I mean like Errol Spence for for example, he went straight into Danny Garcia after the car accident, but the amount of time that he took to get ready was I think almost like a year if I'm not mistaken, but still leading into that Danny Garcia fight after January of that 2021. No, it was 2020 of January, if I'm not mistaken, because he fought Danny Garcia in 2020, and I believe leading up to the Manny Pacquiao fight, yeah. So he fought Danny Garcia December 5th, 2020, and then it would have been Manny Pacquiao leading into June of that following summer. So basically, Spence, he's been out the ring for quite a long time, which isn't good. And I think Errol Spence, he's obviously, doing that because he's wanting to unify his belts to be, undisputed. He doesn't want to face no goddamn mandatory or whatsoever, in which I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to expect out of Errol. Hopefully, well, probably by, like what, February or March leading into that year, but still it's just his problem is basically nobody don't want to fight EJ. So EJ is trying to find ways to keep himself active enough to fight the higher level opposition so he could be ready for that level of talent. But still, if you compare that to Terrence Crawford has been out the ring for well over a year leading up to Sean Porter, and he could have stayed a lot more active leading up to a Sean Porter fight, where after the Kell Brook victory, he could have easily fought, like a Jose Zepeda. Obviously, people don't want to see that, but he should have fought a Keith Thurman or a shit. I honestly, I wouldn't have minded a Gervonta Tank Davis or Gary Russell. I don't care. But still, Terrence Crawford had those opportunities versus Errol Spence. He didn't have those opportunities because things have been caught up with business, and then obviously his eye injury with the Manny Pacquiao fight that screwed things over. Mo Boxing says Tio losing is great for boxing. Yeah, most definitely. Teofimo, like honestly, I'm so happy that Tio lost. That now the political landscape has gotten better for boxing. It's it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Like just like obviously, I don't want to expect the unexpected, but imagine if that was Gervonta Tank Davis beating the shit out of Tio in Madison Square Garden, and Tank literally just knocked him out cold within 4 or 2 to 3 rounds, and Tio's face was just bloodied the hell up. Teofimo, you are absolutely lucky that you were not destroyed by Tank Davis, because the amount of punishment that Tio took to be put into that situation, just so that Tio he's not disciplined enough as a fighter to be focused in the sport. And what you've seen outside of his outside activities of him like smoking hookah, hanging out with people that he shouldn't be hanging out with, and he's getting himself you know how should I say, affiliated with bad relations outside of the sport. um, that's when I knew Teofimo was going to lose to George Cambosos, and that showed last night in the ring where Tio, he was not 100% ready going into that fight. But then again, you should always stay ready to be ready, right? So either way, I'm just happy that that was the best upset ever out of 2021. And Mo Boxing said, if Tio fight Tank, it's a wrap. Oh yeah, definitely. Honestly, if Gervonta Tank Davis calls out Teofimo after his fight with Isaac Cruz, which isn't a well, obviously, I'm just hoping that Isaac Cruz doesn't start to become an upset nation alert. But if Tank is successful against Isaac Cruz, I won't be surprised if he says, give me Teofimo Lopez next, because he will be gunning down Tio to say, look, you're like food to me at 135 or 140. So either way, Teofimo knows what's going on with his career, and he knows that he's a target for so many people that want to take his ass out. Expect more upsets in 2022? Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, like what's coming up next is honestly, like I need to take a look at the undercards for Tank Davis and Cruz, but I would hope that the undercard is good. But if there's some more good fights down the road that I am looking forward to see, I could definitely expect a lot more bigger upsets in the future, because we have who we have Tank and we got Devin fighting next weekend. That's gonna be lit. Uh, yeah, we have Sebastian Fundora versus Sergio Garcia. That's a co-main event for Tank Davis. Um, Honestly, I don't really know so much about Sergio, but if Sergio knocks out Sebastian Fundora, I'm gonna be laughing my ass off. And then we got Sergey Dervyachenko versus Carlos Adames, which Carlos, he's a very dangerous opponent. Sergey might lose that fight, but I'm gonna probably roll with Carlos Adames, just simply because his style is just all wrong for Sergey. But if he wins, then wow, respect to him, because I definitely see him, climbing up to the top once more. And then we have Miguel Mariaga versus Eduardo Ramirez. That's going to be a good fight. So yeah, not bad fights. And then for Devin Haney's fight card, um, I'm pretty sure it's nothing special, but I would hope that the undercard is good for that one. But after that, we got Connor Ben and Katie Taylor fights, and then who else is fighting? Oh yeah, that piece of shit Jake Paul, right? He's gonna be fighting. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. But for the undercard for Devin Haney and JoJo, we got Jessica McCaskill versus Victoria Bustos. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, Victoria Bustos, she actually said racist comments to Mary McGee, in which she was supposed to fight her at one point, but then I guess she decided to move up and fight Jessica McCaskill. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out there, because she's a piece of shit, but I hope Jessica knocks her out. That's going to be a good fight. And then we got Philippe Ergovich versus Scott Alexander. I don't understand why Ergovich is fighting low tier level heavyweights, but like nobody don't know who the hell this Scott Alexander is. Yeah, like what the hell's going on? But yeah, I'm pretty sure Ergovich is gonna beat this guy's ass. Yeah, this guy isn't really special. He's 6'3", 75-inch arm reach. He's 16-4-2. Wow, damn, that's crazy. But either way, that'll be hopefully a decent fight. And then after that, we got Quantavious Cash versus Austin Williams. I can't wait for that fight. Quantavious Cash, he's a good fighter. I actually like watching him fight, but I think Austin is going to get the job done and beat the crap out of that guy. But hopefully that does become a good fight. And then we have Alexis Espino versus Rodolfo Gomez Jr. Hopefully that becomes a good fight. And I think I've seen Rodolfo fight before. I've seen him fight on PBC, definitely for sure. He's a good fighter. But yeah, decent fights, nothing special. I could be going on for other stuff, but either way, as far as the fight goes with Tio and Cambosos, my final take on it is that uh, I think Teofimo needs to either retire or he needs to leave his father as a trainer, and he definitely needs to work on his game more, because the way he looked like against Cambosos, he easily gets stopped by Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, Subriel Matias. He gets stopped by all those guys at 140, and shit, he would definitely get stopped by Devin Haney. Devin Haney using the like basically using 50% of his power that Cambosos had used on Tio, because Cambosos, he wasn't hitting like mean ass flush shots. You know, he was simply outboxing Tio, and Tio, he was getting cut the fuck up. He was getting bruised. So it just showed like Tio, he's so super susceptible to getting hurt that easily. So I think a Devin Haney opponent, or shit, even Jose Valenzuela can easily stop him. Um, and I would even probably go with Ryan Garcia, even though Ryan Garcia, he's a glass chin piece of shit, Princess Diva, but still, it's like Teofimo is like dog food to so many other killers at 140 and definitely 135. I personally think there are plenty of other fighters out there that could easily defeat Teofimo Lopez. So I think what he showed in that fight was that he was not active. He was very undisciplined. He had no plan B, and he lacked a lot of ring IQ. So I think honestly, Teofimo should have been a real champion of his word to fight Lomachenko in a rematch, in which obviously he has his reasons. But if I was Tio, if I was trying to stay active to be the unified champion of the world, Teofimo should have went right back at Lomachenko to say okay, I'll give you a rematch. If he had beat him, that would have made his stock a lot higher, and then him and Cambosos should have been fight, or they should have been fought each other back in June. That would have been a good fight either way. Even if he fought him in Australia or wherever, that would have been a good fight. And then after that, it should have been definitely Devin Haney, because this fight leading up to Cambosos shouldn't have never happened. Teofimo and Devin Haney should have fought each other last Saturday at the MSG for undisputed. And the problem with Teofimo is that he doesn't care enough to take dangerous high risk fights to dare to be great. And if Tio does not do that, you're going to see more downfalls of his career where he thinks he's at the top, but his skill set is not there for the world championship level. And like all the other fighters say, that there's levels to this game, but honestly, I think that there's mental levels to this game. If you don't have that mental championship level caliber mentality, you're gonna lose to all the top killers in your division. And what the fight showed to me from last night against Tio versus Cambosos is that Cambosos, he was focused. That man was dangerous. He was lethal. He came in with everything he could give, and that showed it in the ring. And I give Cambosos all the credibility in the world, because I didn't know jack shit about him. And then once I started following him, and then once I started talking to his trainer Javier Centeno. Shout out to the coach Javier Centeno. He's a beast. Congratulations. I can't believe how great of a trainer Javier is, but Javier has officially became a very good trainer. Um, in my books, I personally think Javier Centeno, he's a world caliber level trainer, and knowing that he has developed a world champion in George Cambosos just shows how good Florida gym trainers are when it comes to boxing. So I give Javier all the credit in the world, because that man is literally a student of the game. If not, he's just like a master. He's a master of the game. So much credit to Javier Centeno, and I hope to see him develop Xander Sayas into a world champion and many other fighters out of that stable. So much love and respect to that stable. But either way, Cambosos, he fought his ass off. He did everything correct. He outbox the living shit out of Tio, and obviously, he had multiple opportunities to stop Teofimo, and I thought Teofimo he was on wobbly legs in multiple rounds, and that fight was competitive, man. I was very shocked that Teofimo, his body language just showed like he was not ready for this fight, and he overlooked Cambosos so bad to the point where Cambosos, he had him in his head. He was living inside of his head mentally, rent free, and he was just beating the shit out of him. Every time Tio got hit, it kind of felt like a part of his face was being ripped off. But man, Cambosos, he's a beast, man. He is just an absolute beast. Mo Boxing says, I'm starting to believe that Hergovich is a hype job. Yeah, I think so too, because it's like he says, he wants all these killers at the heavyweight division, but yet, I don't see him calling out Luis Ortiz or anybody at the top level because if you really think about it, it's just like Ergovich, he's made himself into a fool by not taking all these difficult fights. And I think, honestly, the best fights he could have made, especially for any fighter fighting him, in Matchroom, definitely could have been Michael Hunter. But I don't think Michael Hunter would have been a good fight for him anyway. I think Michael Hunter would have, fuck around and stopped him. But if he really wanted to, he could have easily tried to make a fight with Robert Helenius or Luis Ortiz, Frank Sanchez, any of those guys, Fa Ajagba. He could have easily fought those guys, but we could easily see that Ergovich, he doesn't want to smoke with any of those guys, and he's shown himself to be a low tier heavyweight. Because if he really wanted that smoke from the very beginning, he would have been called like seriously, he would have been calling out every single one of those guys to say, "Give me Luis Ortiz, give me Robert Helenius, give me Trevor Bryan." Like it's like, dude, it's just sad that Ergovich he doesn't he doesn't stay active enough to be like basically calling out these guys wanting to fight them, in which Luis Ortiz he's obviously one of the most heavily ducked heavyweights in the division, but it's like you could have easily fought him, but it's like you didn't want to because you knew that Luis Ortiz was going to beat the shit out of you. So if I'm Hergovich, I would definitely start getting these big fights now because later on in your career, you're gonna get knocked the fuck out by somebody like Jared Anderson or whoever, man. Because I purely believe that he is not made for the heavyweight division, especially for his style. And someone's gonna just brutally knock his ass out, whether that could be Dillian White or shit, even maybe Derek Chisora, who who knows. But it's just like he knows damn well that if he really wanted that, difficult smoke being given to him, he could have easily called out Luis Ortiz to make a fight with him, or Robert Helenius, or Trevor Bryan. He could have easily called out any of those top dogs at the top 10, but obviously he's going to stand behind Eddie Hearn to say, "Oh, well, Eddie Hearn, he's not giving me the fights, and I I am calling out everybody. I want Deontay Wilder." Like, no, dude, like if you really wanted those guys from the very beginning, you could have easily called these guys out to say, "Hey, I want to fight you. Tell Al Heyman to set it up. Give me the contract." Or Eddie Hearn, he would have set something up. Who knows? But still, it like those fights would have made Matchroom a lot of money. But on top of that, it would have made the PBC and boxing a lot more money if Ergovich had the mentality to say, or basically the initiative mentality to go out of his way to call for those fights. But like we could obviously see that he's trying to use the Canelo Alvarez tactic or ducking tactic to avoid the best competition, and then sooner than later he's going to get knocked out by some low tier level heavyweight. And shit, I won't be surprised if he actually does fuck around and lose. But either way, leading to the second and last topic of the stream, let's talk about Brandon Figueroa and Cool Boy Steph, Mr. Stefan Fulton. I thought this fight was extremely close to the point where I thought that the decision was fair, simply because I thought Cool Boy he did enough to beat Brandon. But I can see like why Brandon would think it's a robbery, but I don't think it was a robbery to the point where Brandon thought that he should have won the fight and he was dominating, Stefan Fulton. Because for those of you that don't know, when you're at the smaller weight divisions, obviously some of those guys can hit hard, but other guys they do have a good tolerance of taking those shots. But if most of your punches are not landing on the head, and let's just say you're just smothering your punches right on the opponent's gloves, then you really can't say that you won the fight simply because you've been more active with your punches. But that obviously doesn't mean anything because you know damn well in the sport of boxing, defense and punch accuracy and ring IQ matters to win your fights, hands down. It doesn't matter what you think of what you thought you did more against your opponent. It what ma- like basically it matters what the judges see based off of how effective you threw your punches to land and how precise and accurate you were on defense to dodge and avoid most of those shots to make yourself more crisp and clear with your reads and your shots to throw punches more effectively to win the fight. So, if you break down this fight against Figueroa and Fulton, I thought Figueroa did enough to give Fulton problems, but Fulton came out of his way and he landed the more cleaner, effective shots. See, now Fulton is a good fighter, but it wasn't like Fulton, he was getting his ass dog walked by Figueroa. And I mean, if you really think about it, Figueroa, he had his moments of hurting Fulton, but you could obviously tell Fulton he has a good poker face to the point where you don't even know if he actually even hurted him. So I think what Figueroa failed to do is that he failed to apply pressure to Fulton's body more. He was just mainly trying to headhunt, and then Fulton he was doing his job by just making it easy um um in the inside where he was basically beating Brandon at his own game, and Brandon didn't even know it. He didn't know that he was actually losing on the inside against Fulton. Fulton was throwing some mean uppercuts, mean hooks to the body. He was just chopping Brandon away, and it was a good fight. I mean, obviously Brandon, he obviously did his thing. A lot of people thought Fulton lost that fight, and I mean, honestly, like I don't really think Fulton really lost. I thought Fulton did his job, and he exposed Brandon. I thought Brandon arguably lost that fight. It really wasn't close in my honest opinion. I thought that the fight was a good clear 8-4 or 7-5 rounds. But I mean, if anything, if Brandon wanted to make it close, he should have knocked down Fulton, and he definitely would have forced a draw. Or if he was able to knock him down in 2 rounds out of the 12, and he would have forced the fight to be, you know, 7-5 in his favor, or maybe like 8-4 in his favor. Who knows? Like I don't really know how that outcome definitely would have played out, but Fulton definitely did his thing. He definitely told Brandon to his face that the fight was close. He knew it, and he said if he wants to run it back, they could definitely run it back. I personally would like to see that fight in Philadelphia if that could happen. I think that's a good fight. And if that can happen, by all means, go for it. Make it happen. But I mean, Brandon trying to be disrespectful to Fulton, trying to say that Fulton didn't win this fight. This is a robbery. I disagree with that. I did not see this to be a robbery. And as much as you Texas boxing fanatics try to say, Fulton, should have won, or he shouldn't have won this fight, just remember that Virgil Ortiz is from Texas, and when he fought Igas Kavalauskas and he got knocked down, and the referee didn't call it, I'm pretty sure those same fans would try to say like Virgil Ortiz like wasn't on the verge of getting stopped by Igas Kavalauskas. So I don't know. Like I think it's some weird political emotionalism that people play on certain fighters because they're obviously trying to find a way to defend a fighter's credibility or a fighter's skill set when they know that their levels of skill set is not even high enough to reach at that top. But either way, it really doesn't matter because I personally think what Fulton had done in this fight, he showed a lot of heart. He showed a lot of ring IQ, and he showed a lot of defensive responsibility to out jab and out read Brandon to make Brandon or to basically make Brandon miss a lot on the inside, tire his ass out. In which obviously Brandon's gas tank is amazing, but he was getting hit on so many cylinders. It wasn't even funny. So I think what Fulton should have done more, he should have worked Brandon's body more, and he should have broke Brandon down to the body. And I think as far as him hitting him upstairs, he should have just saved that for last when Brandon leaves his defense wide open, and then Fulton he's able to throw more effective shots. Uh, leading to the point of Brandon getting stopped, because obviously Fulton he said that he doesn't see the fight going past 9, but I think what he should have done if he really wanted to get a knockout was just pressure Figueroa to the body and then break Figueroa's well down to the body, and then when you have those big shots to throw at Figueroa, you throw him with conviction to the body or just to the head. And I think Fulton could have definitely scored a knockout, but either way, Figueroa, he's a beast. He definitely showed a lot of heart in that fight and a lot of will. So I think either way, even though that Fulton really wanted to knock that guy out, um, I think Fulton just did enough to win. So there's really no shame in that. Fulton had to do what he had to do because the fight was competitive enough where Fulton, it kind of looked like he was about to get stopped in certain occasions, but Brandon's momentum easily got overturned when Fulton was landing those same shots at him, and Brandon he was backing up and not being effective with his pressure. So either way, I thought the decision was fair. It really doesn't matter that Brandon lost because Brandon, he knew like even if he were to win, it's like how would his style do against MJ Akhmadaliev, because the way he fought against Fulton, I don't see MJ allowing Brandon to do that, and I think MJ, he definitely could have had the opportunity to stop Figueroa, more as far as the opportunities that were so open as far as his lack of defense goes to how he fought against Fulton versus him not landing that much success on Fulton, knowing that if MJ, like obviously MJ and Fulton, they're gonna fight each other, but still, it's like MJ would have landed more successful punches on Figueroa than he would versus Fulton, because Fulton's not going to give MJ those looks. He's going to move around in the ring and be athletically gifted, that he's built to be undisputed. Obviously, because I would favor Fulton beating him, but still, I think MJ knows that Figueroa definitely would have been tailor made for his style, and he definitely would have outboxed, if not definitely hurt Figueroa way more than Fulton does. But I guess as far as like what certain critics would say that Fulton doesn't have power. I disagree with that. I think Fulton does have power, but he's obviously a volume puncher, so he doesn't have like the one shot knockout power. He just has a accumulation of punches that hurt you. Similar to that with Mayweather in a way. And he takes a fight easy and simple, where he doesn't try to force himself too much in the fight where he's gassing out early. In which late game he has a lot more gas in the tank because he's not exerting most of that gas early game. So I think Figueroa, obviously got styled on, and hey, shit, if the fight does need a rematch, have that fight down in Philly, because Fulton, he's the A side now, so I say the rematch should be in Philadelphia, and then if Fulton loses, he should get a trilogy, and then that fight should go down in Texas. Who knows? I don't know, man, but either way, that's pretty much what I have to say. I thought both fights were amazing. I definitely want to see Kambosos and Haney go at it. I can't wait for Haney this week. And well, obviously not obviously not today, but obviously today would be Gervonta Tank Davis's fight. But next weekend's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. Haney and Tank Davis. That's gonna be amazing fucking fights, and it's gonna be a very devastating night of fights. And I hope Haney wins. But as for Tank Davis, a couple questions kind of concern me with him and Cruz. I kind of feel like Isaac Cruz, he's gonna try to be extremely dirty in that fight against Gervonta, but I don't think Gervonta is gonna allow Cruz to just boss him around and try to hurt him. I think Cruz is gonna leave himself wide open to get knocked out and get brutally hurt early. So I just don't think his style is just there yet to compete with a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, I don't really have as many viewers as many people think that I should, but I just do this for fun, and obviously with the next stream that I have, shit, I might just want to fight call both the Devin Haney and JoJo fight, and then I'll do the Gervonta Tank Davis and what JoJo or Isaac Pitbull Cruz fight. So I'm definitely gonna mark that on my calendar. I'm definitely gonna do a fight call on that. That should be very fun. Obviously, man, I really wish if I could actually stream those fights on my channel. That would be dope. I would be having so many people come through, and that would be awesome. But you know, well, that's obviously if copyright was out the way and out the picture. But either way, there's still ways that people still do it. But either way, that's pretty much what I have to say. I hope you guys enjoy that, and I will see you guys later. Thank you, and have a good night. Bye.